If you want to see behind the scenes into my investment portfolio, this series and this video is for you. Because in this series, I will be breaking down a behind the scenes look at one of my investment properties and the decision I made and the process I took to convert a long-term rental into a midterm rental. Guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Greg Schwartz. I'm an investor here in Bryan-College Station. My wife and I started off by house hacking a fourplex. That means we lived in one unit and rented out the other 3. And today we have 26 units all here in Bryan-College Station. Some are long-term and some are short-term. And in this video series, I'm gonna break down our decision here in 2025 to convert one of our long-terms to a midterm strategy. In fact, this can be a 4-video series. In video 1, I'm gonna break down exactly what a midterm short-term hybrid strategy is. That's what I implement. I'm also gonna go over the decision and why we decided to go from that long-term to that midterm hybrid strategy. In video 2, I'm gonna go over line by line exactly what I furnish my properties with. That is our spreadsheet that we use to furnish our properties, including our estimate for that total furnishing expense. In video 3, I'm gonna show you the good and the bad of having to furnish a property. Building all the dang furniture, getting it filled, making it look cute, which by the way is not my specialty. I will also let you know how we set up the property on Airbnb and PriceLabs. I only use Airbnb and PriceLabs. PriceLabs is a dynamic pricing tool that integrates with Airbnb, has a lot of great customization. And then in video 4, the last video of the series, I'm gonna share with you the good or the bad, the wins or the loss, the profits, or how much money I'm gonna lose on this venture as we transition from long-term to midterm. So let's jump right in to the first video in the series where I break down what is my midterm, short-term hybrid strategy and what the heck I'm even talking about. Well guys, a little backstory. I started off like anybody else wanting to make a little bit of extra money on one of my investment properties. So we determined to furnish it. We determined that we would furnish it and put it on Airbnb. And quite frankly, it did pretty dang well. This is one unit in a fourplex. Again, we furnished it and we started off during football season here in College Station, home of Texas A&M, Kyle Field with over 102,000 seats. It was great during football season. And we made a lot of money. In fact, even off season, we made a lot of money. But what I found out is that I was turning the property about 12 times a month. Yeah, I was turning it about 3 times a week, which, yeah, I was making a lot of money, but that's a lot of work. And I thought to myself, I would love to do more of this, but I don't know if I have the capacity to have 12 turns per month times 2, 3, 5, or 10 units. I didn't want to scale that short-term model. As a side note, if you are the type of person who would love to own a boutique hotel one day, if you're the type of person that hosts dinner parties every single weekend, if you have that host kind of gene in your body, then maybe that's a good fit for you. But for me and my wife, that was just not what we enjoyed doing. So it took a lot of time. We didn't really enjoy doing it. And ultimately we wanted to focus more on our clients, our investors, helping them grow their wealth here in town. And I couldn't both be a good host to my guests and be a good agent to my clients. So we made the decision that we had to change something. What did we change? What we did first is we discounted the longer term stays. So if someone's gonna stay with us for 30 days or more, we were gonna give them a huge discount. In fact, today I provide a 50% discount on anyone who stays in one of my units for more than 30 days. What we also did is we went into PriceLabs and we manipulated the customization in there to maximize midterm rentals. And don't worry guys, in video 3 of this series, I will lay out exactly what that customization looks like and how we tweak that. But for now, what you need to know is this customization allows me to have the longer term stays, those month-long stays, they can book out further in advance. And the shorter stays have to book out closer. What does that mean? Well, let's conceptualize it this way for starters. I don't know if you've ever seen this demonstration before, and hopefully we can have a little video up here, but it's a demonstration where they take a big like beaker or glass container, and they start off and they pour some sand in it. And then they grab some pebbles, they pour the pebbles in there, and then they try to put the large rocks in there, but the large rocks won't fit, right? it's overflowing to the beaker. But then they take the same amounts of each, the sand, the pebbles, and the large rocks, but they start with the large rocks. Large rocks go in, there's all that space, and they put the pebbles in next, and the pebbles fill in the space between the large rocks, and then they pour the sand in, the sand fills in the rest. Well, that's the same thing that I do with my midterm, short-term hybrid model, is I fill in the long stays and I fill in the gaps between with my short stays. And the other advantage to this, and really guys, the reason that this is so important, is you don't want to have a short-term stay, let's say 2 months from now on a random Wednesday. That one little stay could block somebody from booking 2 months. Well, I prefer the 2-month stay, and so I don't want to allow someone to book a single day 2 months out. So if you're gonna book less than 30 days in one of my units, it has to be within the next 2 weeks. If you're booking outside of 2 weeks, then you're booking for 30 days or longer. And ultimately, that's how I build out this strategy. Hopefully I can provide a timeline here where I show you, midterm stay, midterm stay, midterm stay, and then little filling in the short terms in between. Hopefully that visual helps you guys out. So we started implementing this through Price Labs and through Airbnb. We're manipulating the tools until we now have a model where instead of 12 turns in a month, I only have 2 turns on average per month. A lot of months we don't have any because people are staying for multiple months, 2 or 3 months at a time, sometimes as long as 6 months. But sometimes we have more of those short-term stays. But ultimately, 2 turns per month is scalable. Now we have 7 going on 8 midterm rentals here in town. So now I have 2 times 8, 16 turns in a month instead of 8 times 12, 80, 96. So would I rather have 16 turns or 96? Guys, all day long the 16 turns, and quite frankly, I still make some pretty good money off of it. So that's my strategy. That's what we've been implementing. But ultimately, we had to make the decision of whether or not it was worth it here in 2025 to spend the money to both upgrade and furnish one of our long-term rentals to make it this midterm model. Because yeah, guys, I got to spend time rehabbing this unit, right? The midterm model requires a higher product, a nicer product than my long-term model. I have to furnish it. I have to plan all this stuff out. We have to get all the furniture. We have to go in there. We have to put it all together. And yes, I could hire this out, but I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I like to do this myself. Plus, I think if I put it together well in the beginning, it will pay dividends later on, knowing that it was done right. Okay, so my wife and I, a few months ago, we sat down and we said, hey, is this worth it for us to do? Is it worth it for us to convert this long-term to a midterm model? So we broke out the old P&L. And guys, for you, because you watched this far into the video, I'm gonna share this with you. In fact, all my contact information is in the description below. My email address, my cell phone number, find me on Facebook, Instagram, even comment down below that you want this P&L. I'll reach out and I will email you the exact P&L from my fourplex so you can see exactly how much money I make, because in this fourplex, I have 3 long-term units and 1 midterm unit. And this is what we learned when we looked at this. Now, this is a P&L from all of 2024. So an entire year's worth of income. So when we looked at the numbers, our average cash flow on our P&L right here, I'm looking at it, guys, is $1,741 per year per unit on those 3 long-term rentals, which comes out to about $145 per month. And honestly, that's not too bad for a long-term rental. But then I look at this last column, Unit D, our midterm property, and that one made $7,965, nearly $8,000 on our midterm rental. Now, quick math, guys, if I take $8,000 and I divide it by 1740, that means I'm making 4.6 times as much income on my midterm than I am my short term. And here's where the conversation really got interesting. We decided that we spend about 1 hour per month on each of our long-term rental properties. But we would spend about 1 hour per week on our midterm rental properties. And this is on average, right? It gives or takes per month. Sometimes we're putting a lot into it, sometimes not as much, but I would spend 4 times as much time. Actually, my wife Rachel would, she does all of our management. So she would spend 4 times as much time, but make 4.6 times as much money. Guys, ultimately, we're making more per hour on the management side because that's what it comes down to. So to manage this thing takes about 4 hours per month, but the good news is we're making a lot of money off of that on a per month basis, and I really think that it's worthwhile. So we decided that in 2025, with interest rates being as high as they are, with housing prices being as high as they are, and with the demand, my favorite investment is multifamily, and there's a lot of demand for multifamily, there's not a lot of inventory, so it's hard to get a really good multifamily. Plus, I don't want to take good deals for my clients, so it made more sense this year to upgrade to this midterm model. So in 2025, through this video series, you're gonna watch us spend money to improve it, spend money to furnish it, spend time and effort to set it up, and then hopefully in video 4, show you how much money we're making with our newest midterm. Guys, stay tuned. We're gonna drop a new video about every single month on this particular topic, and I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Outside of this, I do drop a video every single week on various topics about investing here in Bryan-College Station. So make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. And I always ask you guys, until next week, you take it easy.